Hi everyone, welcome to another TUC webinar. We're just going to let lots of people join us here in the Zoom room and then we'll be getting going. It's great to see over 100 of you already with us. We expect this to be a really exciting session. So we'll just give it another minute to let some more people join us. While we're waiting for them, it would be great if you could say hi in the chat, tell us your name, your union, where you're from, and later on you can use the chat panel to exchange some tips and ideas with each other. Hi everyone who's just joined us. We'll be getting going in about 30 seconds. We just want to let as many of you as possible to join the webinar so that you don't miss out. Okay, I will get going with a little bit of webinar housekeeping. So, welcome to today's webinar, and we are going to be talking about something a bit different from usual today. We're going to be talking about making social media videos, reps making social media videos, and specifically how they can be used to fight the far right. I'll be coming on to that in a minute. As you know, you're already, many of you are already writing in the chat. We love to see that. We love to see what's going on in the workplace and the differences that you're making. We have saved some time for some question and answers with our speakers. So at the bottom of the screen, there's a Q&A button. You can post your question there and we'll get to those at the end. We do have live captions on the webinar. So again, at the bottom of the screen, there's a show captions button. You can click that to get the captions while you're watching us. And of course, we are recording this. So if you miss anything, don't worry, we'll make sure you get sent the recording afterwards, along with any resources that we talk about. So in today's webinar, we're going to be sharing some video links with you, and we will make sure they're shared after the webinar. We're not going to put them in the chat because we want you to stay with us rather than go off. The aim of today is to get you making a video. So we're going to, by the end of the 60 minutes, we're going to show you how you can do it, why it's important, and we're going to get some creative ideas going in your head about what you can do to make a video and share it with us. But all this is going to be revealed over the next hour. Right, I'm joined by two speakers today. You can see Craig Stewart, who's my colleague here at the TUC, and Richard Rofe. So Craig is a project officer in our worker-led transition team. Before he came to us at the TUC, he was ex-RAF, and then he was a Unite rep in the chemical industries in Teesside. Richard has been making social media videos for over 15 years now, has worked with unions and the TUC. Unions include Unite and ASLEF, and his videos have been seen more than 100 million times, and he's now supporting workers to create their own viral videos. So there's lots to learn here today. And okay, I'll tell you now, Richard and Craig have persuaded me to make a video and to share it as well. So I'm a newbie as much as you are. We're all in this together, and we're gonna we're all gonna make a video and share it and learn from each other. Right, let's get going with the subject. So first off, I'm gonna put a question to Richard. How do social media videos make a difference? What can you tell us about their impact?
Yeah, thanks so much, Anna. And yeah, so amazing to see so many people here. Really excited to kind of hear from you all in the chat. I think social media videos is no longer about what happens online, is it? We see that TikTok isn't just something that young people are using now. Over 50% of people in the UK are getting their news from it. And social media has become the main place that a lot of groups are getting their news, which means that it's not only a tool to change people's opinions on things around workers' rights or things pushing back on the far right. Social media is now directing what the media is talking about, and then that's dictating the political agenda. So I think we see it winning elections, like in America. I think there's a pretty good argument that Trump would not have got a second term without social media, maybe not a first term. And then Nigel Farage has got like the most TikTok followers of any political group or political party. So there's the kind of danger of how it's being used by people that are controlling the debate and pushing things that are against workers' interests. But also, I think we see a kind of big opportunity. So we see anyone can make a video now. If you have a mobile phone in your pocket, you basically have what 20 years ago would have been a professional piece of camera kit and editing kit. So there's such potential for workers and people in the trade union movement to be using this to then push back against these messages. And I think it's amazing how simple it is. I've actually got a video queued up, Anna. Is that great to share? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to see examples of what you're talking about.
Yeah, great. So you might think social media video, very complicated. This video got over 1.8 million views just on one platform. So it is a little bit quiet, but you can read the subtitles.
Dear Simon Thompson, Royal Mail. See, while you are sitting in your warm, dry offices getting paid hundreds of thousands of pounds to do whatever it is you do, posties like myself and Davey there are walking about for hours in this kind of weather. How about you just stop the nonsense, give us a decent no-string pay rise, stop attacking our jobs, terms and conditions, and stop attacking our union. Thanks.
Yeah, well said. And I think what's amazing is that even if you're like, I'm not a professional filmmaker, I don't know how to do this, you see that video, audiences love things being raw and authentic, and like someone just kind of on their post round takes a few minutes, puts out a message. It's a really punchy message that people can get behind. And so I think that's why it's so exciting, the idea of lots of you going out there and making videos in your kind of area to talk about the things that you really care about. You don't need all this technical stuff. It's just taking the plunge and giving it a go.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what struck me about that video, Richard, is that he's in the rain. The weather's awful. And I'd have thought, oh no, we've got to have quiet. It's got to be like sunny or something. But it absolutely shows that none of that matters. And it makes it more real. So thanks for that great intro to this. But as I said at the beginning, we want to use social media videos to tackle the far right, to fight the far right. So my next question is about, why is this important for union reps to do? And Craig, this is a question for you because you've got some experience in this area, haven't you?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. And as Richard said, I think it's absolutely amazing that we've got 220 people in the room listening to this. So, I mean, I think that just shows. I mean, if we put 220 videos on TikTok today, we would probably break the internet. So I think that just shows the sort of like power that we've got. I think it can't be understated, what we've got at our disposal here. So I think it's really important that we use it. That's not the answer to the question. I'm just really, really excited that we've got this many people in the room. But I think to answer that question, I may as well sort of tell you a little bit like what my journey's been. So as Anna said there, I came out of the chemical industry about 18 months ago now. It was around about the time of the Southport riots. And there was a real turn in the sort of the conversation within my friends and family. And I was really starting to see what was happening online take hold with people who I hold really, really close to us. Now, I obviously didn't like that. I found that very, very jarring. And I was looking at online and I couldn't quite see anybody who I related to quite directly, anyone who sort of like looked like myself, talking in a more positive and progressive way. It was all very much like the Tommy Robinson, Nigel Farage bandwagon. So after a rant at a morning meeting at work about how annoyed I was that my friends were showing some like Islamophobic stuff and racist stuff on group chats, people that I know really, really well, I sort of made the decision. I thought, well, if I want to see people make videos, then why don't I just do it myself? And I think it actually comes back to the sort of like trade union mentality of, you don't sit back and wait for other people to do things for you. You get up off your backside and do it yourself and you fight. So I sort of took the ownership and thought, right, I'm going to start making videos. And I think it's worth saying for everybody in the call that, I mean, I had to download TikTok. I wasn't using social media. I wasn't creating any videos. I was completely and utterly fresh, like I'm guessing a lot of the people in the call would be. And yeah, so I just decided to sort of pick up my phone, download the apps, as I said, write a quick script about a couple of things that I thought, well, not that I thought I was passionate about, that I am passionate about, and that was like Farage attacking the NHS. And I actually can't remember off the top of my head what my first few videos were, but I just started posting, and it was really low effort. And I think that's something that's worth mentioning, is that the hardest bit is posting that first video. I mean, I'm talking about my family and friends that were seeing these videos, and my biggest fear was that, you know, there's something about trying hard and failing and people laughing at you and looking stupid. But if you feel passionately enough about it, you just got to power straight through it. So posted them first few videos, and as you start to get through it, it gets easier and easier in terms of what you think people's perceptions are of what you're doing. But what I've found is really great, and it's as simple as this, is that, you know, rather than scrolling your phone for half an hour, you can contribute to the discourse, and in that time you can pick up your phone, record yourself and say, I don't think this is right, I don't think that's right, this is a better alternative, and you can post and you can get your opinion out there. Yeah, I think, is that sort of, actually I don't think I've fully answered the question, but I think it just to sort of hone in exactly what the question that you asked, Anna, about why it's important that we do that. I think it's important because we've got such a wide variety of voices in this call, and as I said earlier on, if you're going to be convinced, or you're able to be convinced, you're going to be convinced by someone who you relate to. Now, that'll be different between me, Richard, and Anna. We'll all be, you know, more interested in different people depending on, you know, how we relate to them. So the more people we can get online and the more voices we can get online, the more people who are going to be convinced, and the stronger likelihood, the chance we're going to win. Yeah, that's why.
Absolutely, Craig. I think that's a really great detail for our audience on how you came into doing this, and why. And I think what really struck me is you said you spend time in the evening sort of scrolling on your phone. I think a lot of us do. I'm certainly guilty of that. You know, my phone tells me how much my average time per day on it a week, and it makes me feel sick. So maybe I can reduce that by, you know, committing to filming more rather than looking at other stuff. So what I wanted to do next was to get us to look at one of your videos, Craig. I think we've got one. Oh, you want to tell us about that?
Just one quick thing, Anna. There's just a couple of people have mentioned in the chat there, which I think is a really important point, and it's something that I've been very conscious of as well, and that's breaching sort of the organization's social media policies and all sorts of things. So I'm not suggesting that we necessarily go into that now, but I think it's maybe just worth something.
No, we absolutely will come back to that. We'll definitely come back to that. Yeah. So can we have a look at one of the videos that you've made? I know you've had some incredible viewing figures, so perhaps we can have a look at one of those. I think if Richard's going to show it, let's rewatch it first, and then you tell us about it after.
Yep.
Reform are not the party of the working class. Since when was a privately educated, second-generation stockbroker who idolises Margaret Thatcher the saviour of the working class? Nigel Farage has openly admitted that he thinks we're going to have to move to an insurance-based system of healthcare. We all know what that means. He wants to privatise the NHS. That might suit him and his pals who've got more than enough money knocking around to pay for the best private healthcare on the market. But what about people at home who can barely afford to keep a roof over their families' heads? We need to stop taking the NHS for granted. We've all used it. We've all needed it, so why would we abandon it now? The NHS doesn't discriminate between rich and poor. Shouldn't we be proud of the fact that we live in a country that makes sure that no matter how much you're struggling in life, you know you can get the healthcare you need when you need it the most? The simple fact is that Reform do not care about the people who struggle the most in this country. They actually take aim at them. A vote for Reform is a vote to scrap the NHS. No thanks.
Brilliant. And I don't know whether you can see, Craig, in the chat that a viewer has said he's seen it and shared the video. So, you know, there you go. It's already out there. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what happened when you posted that video? Are you still with us? I've just, hopefully, yeah, you are. So I lost you for a second there. Like, what happened when you made that video? Like, how did you do it? Why did you do it? And then what happened after you posted it? So I'm assuming that was your first.
It was, yeah. So it was one of the first. I think it's actually quite funny looking back at. I think we're going to see another video in a little while. So like, you can see a progression there. I feel looking back at that, I seem quite stiff and sort of very, you know, not as natural. But it was because I was quite nervous, you know, and you're quite. It feels uncomfortable to do it for the first time, but you know what's interesting is actually reflecting back on it is that how effective that video actually was in hindsight. You know, even you know, in sort of, you know, not having all of the background information on how to make the perfect video and all the hooks and all these different things. It's just like, looking back, I felt passionate about, at the time, what was being discussed quite a lot was Farage on NHS, and it was a case of very quickly writing a script and pointing the camera at myself, recording it. I mean, the lighting was probably pretty poor, this audio was probably pretty poor, all those different things, but it didn't matter because the message was getting through. And it was, I think maybe, I don't know how many videos in it was, but it showed that the potential to break through was there, and it really, really sort of inspired us to keep going for a start. But yeah, it just sort of proved to me that you don't need to be. You can look at other people's TikToks and other people's Instagrams and think, oh God, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do this. But just pointing the camera at yourself, recording your opinion, and posting it can get views, and people can listen to you. So yeah, it was a really, really valuable experience having that sort of like early success.
Yeah, thanks, Craig. And we will send everyone the links to the video of Craig and of the postie later, so that you can have a look as many times as you like, and of course share them again. Okay, I think you then had another video that went viral. Am I right?
Yeah, so it's funny because it's like, I think going viral, you think it's like this one moment where it's like, like it all of a sudden just happens. It's like it seemed to just gradually be grown, and it's this like video that is constantly sort of there in the background, ticking over, getting views, which is really quite nice. But yeah, I don't know if we want to play it and then.
Have you ever wondered why people always say stuff like this?
Our culture is under threat.
British culture is under attack.
That perhaps something about our culture is directly under threat.
But then when you actually ask them what British culture is, they can't tell you. It's not because they don't know. It's because if they actually said, it'll be quite obvious that British culture isn't under attack. How can Sunday dinners and cups of tea be under attack? Get a grip, man. Let's quickly show you something. Places like this haven't closed down because of immigration. It's because we haven't been bothered to go over the years. It's not about protecting Christianity. It's about attacking Islam. So why do people want you to think that British culture is under attack? It's because Nigel Farage and Tommy Robinson's politics only works when you're pissed off. Makes sense, doesn't it? Don't let hate win.
So yeah, that one had a much bigger viewing, and I think the video itself was quite different. So anything you want to add about that, Craig, before we move on to some of the like practical elements that I want to ask Richard about? Oh, you still there? Okay, you are.
Sorry, I've had to switch to my mobile. I've got really unprofessional. Yeah, so do you want me to talk a little bit about the...
Yes, please, about the video we've just seen.
Yeah, so I think... Sorry, 1 second. This is terribly unprofessional. Sorry. Yeah, so I think what's interesting looking back at that is, I mean, there's one thing that my first reflection is that I'm really, really proud of like how well that video is doing, and it's sending a positive message out there. It's like when we talk about all these things and you talk about numbers and figures, it's like you forget that actually the journey's really, really fun, and you learn a lot along the way. And I've learned a lot about what I want to talk about. I think it's important to remember that just because you've posted this one message, one video straight away, it doesn't mean that you're then, supposed to be some sort of expert or some sort of, exact. And you develop as you go through this process. And I feel like I've learned a lot about what I want to talk about along the way, which is really, really nice. Talking about culture and being from a working class background and how the world works for me seems to be something that resonates with the people that watch my videos. And yeah, I think as well, what's really, really cool is I feel like I can see the progress in how the video is put together. With Richard's helped us along the way, which has been really, really valuable. But yeah, it's I feel like as you go through the process, you become more aware of how to make an effective video, which is great.
but that doesn't mean that the entry level, I mean, the bar is still really low for the entry level to still make an effective video. So it's like, it's a really cool environment where, you know, if you make a bad video, nobody watches it. You're your own worst critic, you know? The worst thing that can happen is someone doesn't watch the video and they just slide on to the next one. Doesn't really matter, you know? But the chance is there that lots of people will watch it. And I think someone just commented there saying editing's really scary. Now, that's you know, it took me a lot of practice to sort of to get to that point, but can't stress enough that like you've seen with the video with the postman, you don't need to be an expert in editing to make an effective video for people to listen to what you have to say.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to come on to some of these more like practical, technical, I say technical, but the more how you do it aspects next, which is where we're going to put a few more questions to Richard. So as I said, Richard has been working with unions and with workers to make videos over the past 15 years. So the next thing I want you to talk about, Richard, is how people can make a video. Because remember, we're going to be asking as many of you as possible to make a video and share it with us. And of course, I'm going to do it as well. So I'm going to be listening really hard, and I will watch back on the recording as well to get lots of tips. So Richard, how can we make it? Like, do we need a lot of equipment? I would assume no. What are the first steps that we can do to make videos like Craig has been talking about?
Yeah, great. Well, I'm very excited about this because Anna has committed to go away and make a video. So there is no escape. We have hundreds of people here witnessing this. So yeah, we can kind of go through the steps with you maybe. And I think there's a point coming up in the chat that I think we really need to kind of emphasize here, which is, yeah, Craig mentioned it, what are the kind of legal ramifications in different workplaces? And I think one role that I think TUC is going to have is creating a bit of a community where then you're not on your own. You don't have to figure out all this stuff yourself. They can actually listen to what you need and what support you need to be able to do more of this. So there is a kind of WhatsApp group that we'll share, and there will be can be follow up and more detailed advice. I think we talk about making videos like Craig's, which I think are great. There's also videos that are more about you as a rep and what your messages are. So Anna, the first point in you making a video is picking something to respond to. What's the thing you want to make a video about? And I think for a lot of you, it might be you scroll through the news and you see something that you would go and rant to your friend about at lunch, or you would go and speak to a family member about and be like, I can't believe this. It's unbelievable. Here's what I think about it. Here's what I think they should do. And if you can tell that story to your friend or your family member, you have all the skills you need to make a good social media video, because it's just turning on the camera and pressing record and you being a natural storyteller that you've had 30, 40, 50 years of experience of. So Anna, to you, is there anything that's kind of happened to you recently, something from the news, something from your work that you're like, oh, I could make a video around that?
Well, yeah, not so much the news at the moment, but I am working on an idea for that. I really am always inspired by the work that reps do in hundreds of thousands of workplaces all over the country. They make a difference in thousands of different ways. And on Tuesday, I was at an event in Leeds with nearly 300 safety reps. Some of you may have been there. And there were so many inspiring stories about the difference that workplace reps make. One that jumps out at me is about mental health and stress at work and the changes that a rep has made. So I would probably want to make a video about that, about how inspirational it is, kind of really quite positive about the changes that reps can make. I'd want to do that as my first one to almost test the water before I moved on to something else.
Yeah, fantastic. And I think that sounds really good. And I'll maybe show the Shelley video now, because I think a lot of you will have seen Shelley Asquith's videos, and a lot of them are about conditions that workers face. And she does such a good job turning an idea into like a really engaging script and video. So I'll just play that and we can talk a little bit about how you can replicate.
Yeah, absolutely. While Richard's loading that up, many of you will have met Shelley on a webinar before. She's the TUC's health and safety lead. She does lots of work, and she's a bit of a health and safety video star online.
Great. Well, we'll play a couple because they're kind of very short and punchy. So here's the first one.
Did you know you're 3 times more likely to be injured at work if you're in a non-unionised workplace? That's because unions make work safer. So if you're not in one, join one.
That's my particular favourite. I'll get Richard to talk in a minute about, she obviously is acting in this, not just talking, but perhaps we can talk about those differences.
Yeah, great. Well, we got a second one here as well, short and punchy, and this one got kind of almost 700,000 views.
Can someone please explain to me how it's against the law to transport livestock in temperatures above 30 degrees Celsius, but it is not against the law for a bus company or a train company to tell a human being driver that in 35-degree heat they still have to drive that bus or that train carrying up to thousands of people at a time with no aircon. That heat is affecting their concentration, it's creating risk of heat stroke. We need a maximum working temperature, not just for animals, for humans too.
Great. Well, yeah, absolutely love those videos. And so there was a kind of good question in the chat from Donna Spicer. Like, do you script your videos or speak from the heart? Craig, I know you do script your videos, don't you?
Yeah, I tend to do scripted, but it's funny because it's like even if you haven't got the time to, or you're not in a situation where you can pop out a video, you could quickly just like I put thoughts into my notes, and they very, very quickly turn into a script. And when you have got a quiet 5 minutes, you can just quickly go boom, 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 and away you go. So like there's a nice balance to be had there. You can either just rant into your phone or rant into your notes, which is what I sort of try and do.
Yeah, and it's funny because I guess carving out hours every week to do this is just not realistic for lots of us. And so I think there's be so many moments in your day where you're kind of writing a video script without thinking about it. So if you're talking to a friend at the pub or over lunch and you have a bit of a rant or you get something off your chest, you can think, actually, could that be something that I just then film? But it can be a bit difficult sometimes to start with a kind of entirely blank canvas. So like Shelley with the, Anna with the topic that you had, one structure that you could find helpful that we've taken from Shelley is on social media, people scroll so quickly. So you basically have 2 or 3 seconds at the start of your video to grab them in. Whereas a lot of the time we might kind of give a bit of context or introduce ourselves, actually thinking what's the punchiest thing that you want to say. So I think Shelley can someone please explain to me how it's against the law to transport livestock in temperatures above 30 degrees Celsius? Straight away, you're like, well, that's kind of unexpected. So yeah, is there something that you could say, Anna, that would maybe grab people in? And I know Craig has done a lot of great stuff. As soon as you mention like Nigel Farage or Reform, people are just like, oh, wow. They're kind of, it really draws people in. So talking about a villain or a known character can really help. And then you, in your script or in your kind of speech, think about what's the problem. So can you articulate something to really land with people? Why is it really urgent? How does it affect them? Why is it maybe tapping into their values? But then so much content is really negative online. And I think that leaves people quite disempowered. So as much as possible, even if it's short, put something at the end saying, well, here's the solution or here's the opportunity. So you actually leave people with a bit of hope. And it could just be getting people to comment on your video. Like, what do you think? Let's start a conversation. And the way social media works is the more people that comment, like, share your videos, the more people they'll push that to. So Craig, I know you've done that quite well sometimes where it's like you're actually creating a bit of a conversation with your audience.
Yeah, definitely. I think the sort of it's almost like reasonably, I find it reasonably easy because Nigel Farage is such a hot topic, like, and that's specifically what I want to talk about because that's what we're trying to tackle, and that'll be the case for everyone. But it's about how Nigel Farage and Tommy Robinson impacts you and people like you. I think they tend to be the videos that do quite well for us, especially talking about like the threats on culture and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. Excuse me.
If I'll just add something about just thinking about Shelley's videos, she isn't specifically making them about tackling the far right, fighting the far right. She is talking about health and safety, but which is something affects everyone who's working, and often it's something that gets a bit of bad press. Health and safety, oh, you know, it's red tape or it's boring, but she's trying to make it relevant straight away. When it was 30 odd degrees in the summer, everyone's thinking about how hot it is, so of course, you know, it's immediately relevant. And the one where she rolls over on the floor, that's just saying, you know, unionized workplaces are safer. That's a positive thing. We've had quite a few people raise questions that are practical. So equipment, editing packages, subtitles, do you need a special app on your phone? Can you talk a bit about that? Now, maybe, I think almost everyone watching will have access to a smartphone, but what do they need?
Yeah, great. So let's say, Anna, you've written a few notes in your notes app, you've got your script, you might freestyle a little bit, but you're ready to film. So a question for you, Anna, would be, where do you want to film it? So, I mean, any way you film it is fine. You're using your phone, generally the front camera, so you can see how you're framed. But a couple of things we see with Shelley and Craig is actually filming it out in the world is really effective. So Shelley's one is really clever. She's got the sunglasses on. You know it's a heat wave. She's kind of dressed for the summer. So straight away, there's a bit of a visual hook that's a bit more interesting. And then I think Craig's one's what you found that when you actually go and walk and talk, it does a bit better than if you're recording. But if you're just recording at home, think about where you're going to put your phone. So you can either hold it in selfie style, and I'll try a little demo here just to see if this works. So can you see my, oh, here we go. Can you see me here? So if I'm holding it, it shakes a little bit and it just feels a bit more like FaceTime. It's like you're talking to a friend. It's a bit more casual. Whereas if you kind of put it statically, then it's a little bit more professional. So the kind of, I'll stop that. But one of the kind of secrets of the trade is you don't need a tripod if you have some blue tack. So this stuff is actually a really nice way to just whack your phone anywhere, position it perfectly, get a nice background. And then you don't need to have a microphone. There are some sort of little wireless microphones that some of you have probably seen. I find that the ones are about 20 quid and not much better than your actual phone. So this is a little bit more. So maybe only get it if it's something you're doing quite a lot. This is probably about £65. This is the DJI Mic Mini, but yeah, you really don't need that. And then think, how are you going to remember your script? So I don't know how good your memory is, Anna. You may just be able to kind of memorize all of that in one go. But I think, Craig, you're using these teleprompter apps. So there's a free one. If you just go on the App Store or Google Play, you can load up your script and then it will film you while it comes across the screen. And the beauty of that is that you can do it all in one take. You don't then need to have a load of different takes. So yeah, once you've done the filming, either in chunks, so 2 or 3 lines at a time, if you can memorize them, or with the teleprompter, you go to editing. Now, people, I think, have asked, like, what's the best editing program? One thing to say is that Instagram and TikTok are pushing their own editing tools. So if you're mainly using TikTok to push up your videos, or Instagram, probably the kind of quickest way is to use their own in-app editing tool. The other tool that a lot of people use is called CapCut, which there is a free version, but there's been some really good questions on subtitles as well. So how do you get automatic subtitles and not have to do it manually? And my understanding is that on CapCut at the moment, you need to pay for that function, whereas on Instagram and TikTok, you don't. So yeah, I think choose whichever tool you want. I think CapCut, I can't remember how much it's a month. I think it's over a tenner now, so it's not that cheap. But to start with, editing is the most time-consuming thing. So Anna, you probably could write a script quickly, film it, and then if you try and do a lot of the slightly fancier stuff that Craig was doing, if you've not done it before, you can waste hours on that stuff. So I think keeping it as simple as possible, cutting your clips, cutting out what they call millennial pauses now. So it's kind of very punchy, add some subtitles, maybe kind of screenshot a newspaper headline, and that's it. And you literally can do that in 10 minutes. And I think to start with, just get the videos out quickly, focus on that rather than polishing it up and making it look really fancy. Because I think, Craig, you've shown actually you don't know what's going to take off. So it's a bit of a numbers game to just get stuff out.
The message I'm taking from that is don't overthink it, which I think is a good way to see it. If you start overthinking one thing, you're maybe going to overthink lots of others. And let's like be natural, be genuine. And we're getting lots of questions about this. And I will come on to questions from the audience in a minute. But what I want to do is, first of all, get the audience to have a little think. Hopefully, we've sparked some ideas off in your head of what you could make a video about. If you're stuck for ideas, what has maybe made you think recently? Maybe something you've seen in the news, something that's happened at work, or something that's happened in your neighborhood or community. Have a little think, and we want you to post it in the chat. Hopefully some ideas will come in, and then we'll see if Richard and Craig have got any thoughts on those. We're still getting some technical sort of equipment comments at the moment, but what do you think you could make a video about? These might take a minute or two to come in.
Great. School cuts in the local area, really powerful.
Evac chairs in schools, that's a great one. Encouraging voting in a ballot, attending a local branch meeting, all really good ideas. See, they're getting faster now. Lots of really practical things.
It's the beauty of it as well, though. It's like all the different like ideas coming out because those things that people care about.
Absolutely.
Like, I thought I wouldn't potentially make a great video on what some of these suggestions are. So it's like it's really, really important to get everybody's voices out. It's really inspiring, to be honest. And
I think the thing about social media audiences, people talk about clickbait and all this stuff. They're actually quite smart. If you're really passionate about one of these topics, which I think you all are, then that will come across and that can't be faked. So yeah, it's amazing to see there's so many different things, all fantastic topics.
What struck me as well is the breadth. So some of them are big societal issues. For example, I think someone put casual racism or institutional racism. And then some of them are something that might only affect a small number of workplaces, humidity at the side of a swimming pool, for example. But they are all issues that affect people's day-to-day and people's working life. So there is some fantastic ideas here. And, you know, everything that's in the chat, we'll be able to save, we'll be able to go back on it and have a look. Just a reminder, we are going to be asking you to make a video and share it with us. And we mentioned earlier that we've set up a WhatsApp group where you can share your videos. Craig and myself and Richard will be in this WhatsApp group, and we'll be able to offer you some support and guidance and feedback and ideas. We've also put the link to the WhatsApp group in the chat. We will, of course, share this with you all afterwards. So, you know, scan the QR code now or wait for us to send you the link, and then you can join that and share your videos with us. I'd also add at this point as well that this webinar is not a one-off. We're going to be doing a series of them on this issue, with more planned for early in 2026. But we thought we'd do the first one now before Christmas, sort of to get the ball rolling. And we'd also like you to share your videos with us within the next 2 weeks. If you can share them by your first video by the 28th of November, that would be great. And we'll put a message in the WhatsApp chat to say that, you know, that's the date, just to remind you. So, okay. While you can still post your ideas in the chat about subjects, but I'm going to move on to some of the questions that the audience have posted for us. So, we've had quite a few questions about the role of the employer in this. Now, what advice have you got if employers monitor the social media of employees? Or, for example, if someone, perhaps I have friends who work in education, they don't go on social media because kids will see them or parents of kids will see them. Have you got any guidance for these situations?
I mean, what I'd maybe chip in something, and then Craig will have more to say. I think different platforms are totally different in terms of how your videos are shown to people you know. So Facebook or kind of Instagram is particularly Facebook. All of my friends and family are on there. So if I put anything out, the people who'll see it first are them. If it's TikTok, you can create an account. You don't need to use your own name necessarily. And the algorithm will just show it to a kind of slightly random group of people who are maybe interested in that topic. So if you do blow up and get as many views as Craig, probably loads of the people you know will see it. But that might also be a nice problem to have. But yeah, I think about the platforms you're posting on, because some of them, the algorithm will actually serve it to people that aren't connected to you.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. And on that point, that I sort of went through that journey myself. Obviously, I've like started from making no videos to now 6 months down the line, I've got like 100 videos up there or something. So like, obviously all my friends and family now know that I'm making videos. It's like, but initially I was posting on my own personal Facebook account, which caused a lot of problems, as I said, and I mentioned it earlier in the conversation, that I started posting because a lot of my friends and family were, I was basically posting videos that I post their views. Now, it's something that's worth mentioning that, you know, I found that quite difficult that my family were arguing in the comments of my Facebook video. But what I didn't realize was, I just stopped posting on Facebook, which Richard just said. It sort of gives you that cut off between your own personal page and Instagram and TikTok are more algorithm based. You're not, you know, unless you already got a profile set up with all your friends and family on it. I created new accounts under that guy Craig. Go and give it a follow, by the way. Under that sort of account, that name. And what I realized recently, actually, you can set up a page on Facebook rather than posting through your own personal account. So you can still access the Facebook Reels market, if that's what you want to call it, but without it going through your actual own page. So if that's something that if people want to do, you could probably just give it a Google how to set up a Facebook page, and you'll see how to do it. On the you know, like the workplace situation, whether or not work's monitoring your social media and you don't want to sort of cross any red lines. I think it's difficult, I think, for me to give you advice on that. I think everybody knows the rules of their own workplaces the best. My advice, what I've found, obviously, with the TUC, there is a very similar thing. Obviously, my views align with the TUC's views pretty much all the time anyway. But you'll start to work out what is appropriate and what's not appropriate, and you'll start to it'll feel like a blurry line, but it'll become very, very clear where the line is as you go through the process. But my advice starting out would just be, obviously, just make sure you don't cross any major red lines, because you don't want to get yourself in trouble.
Yeah, thanks both. There's some really really good advice there. You mentioned about the algorithm, and I think that sometimes scares people a bit. Not that we shouldn't be mentioning it here, but another question we've had is, how do we get our videos to the people that need to see them and avoid just being in the echo chamber? We obviously want these particular videos about fighting the far right to go to people who we don't agree with. Now, Craig, you mentioned your family who you're already connected with on social media, but what about people who disagree with you, who you're not connected with? How do you get them to them?
I mean, I don't know exactly how it happens, but I know for sure people disagree with the videos that they're watching based on the comments that I get. I don't quite know. I think actually what's interesting is one of our colleagues, Steve, who's been starting to do some videos himself. Again, he's just picked up his phone and started doing it. He's about 4 or 5 videos in now, maybe. He's got this really interesting take where, because he does poetry, he's a musician, so he's been doing some poetry, and he's actually starting his videos to make it seem as though to
to seem as though that like to pull people in, he's talking about flags and and patriotism and this and that. And as he goes through the journey of the video towards the back end, it's actually, oh, hang on. His views, he's talking about patriotism, but he's trying to reclaim patriotism. You know, it's that sort of journey. But to be honest, I think the algorithm, in quotation marks, whatever that thing is, does a pretty good job of getting your video. At least that's what I've found. I don't know whether it's just because I'm on hot topics and, you know, everyone wants to argue about Nigel Farage and Tommy Robinson, but I don't know what do you think on that, Richard?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a black box, the algorithm. They never quite say how it works, but someone's mentioned in the chat that hashtags are important. And I think that is a good point. Basically, depending on the topic of your video, the platforms will look at, well, what's the script say? We'll kind of analyze the thing. So is it about climate change? Is it about health and safety? Is it about Nigel Farage? And they will then push it to people that they think are going to be interested in that, because they want people to stay on the platform as long as possible. So if you want to kind of go out of the echo chamber, I think don't try and make something that will just generally appeal to everyone. Think, is there a particular group of people that I could speak to? So, Anna, I don't want to out you here. I apologize, but you mentioned to me in confidence you're into sewing, right? Or kind of knitting. So there will be a niche of people that are into that, and also maybe have similar politics or something like that. So you might have your own thing. I think we pitched you doing a kind of knitting while talking about these sorts of things, which I think would be social media gold. But have a think, is there a kind of a niche group that you can speak to, and a topic, or even maybe a way that you do your videos that's going to target a certain group? And then if they engage with it, that video will be pushed more widely. So Craig, some of your videos, I don't have the stats off the top of my head, it might reach 1 million people, but maybe 80,000 people have liked, commented, engaged in it. So the smaller group, that if you really hit them and really appeal to them, they will be your ticket to that wider group and getting out of the echo chamber.
Well, Richard, one of our viewers has just suggested a craftivist is maybe the name of my people. Let's see if we can use that. A craftivist. Another sort of practical question. Length of videos. Should we be doing different lengths on different platforms? Is there a maximum? Or, I mean, some of the ones you show, one of the ones from Shelley was very short. Is there a sort of minimum length as well?
Craig, do you wanna speak?
I mean, yeah, I'm happy with that. I think I try to aim for around a minute. I feel like I've always got quite a lot to say. But what's interesting, I think this is probably a little bit more of like a technical script advice, is that like you don't need to say as much as what you think you do. Like I often write a script out and I'll just get rid of entire paragraphs sometimes, because you just want real like strong point, and that tends to work for me. But I think like I aim for around about a minute. That seems to work. But I do find that some of my shorter videos, you can do like a 20-second quick boom, 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 stop the camera, post it, and it does quite well. I think like Richard, you'll probably know a little bit more about this, but I've read things where it says like, you know, because the algorithm works based on how much of the video is being watched. So like some people, an average could be like a 20-second watch. That's a lot. 20 seconds across a 30-second video is a lot more than it is across a 2-minute video. So it'll seem like people are more engaged with the video.
Yeah, I totally agree with all of that. And this analogy might make no sense at all because I've just come up with it. But you mentioned every point needs to be a good one. And one way to think about it might be like keepy uppies. Basically, every line in your video, every kind of 5 seconds or 10 seconds, if you say something that's like kind of waffly, some people will switch off. So it's much easier to front load your points and have 15 to 30 seconds of your most punchy kind of interesting things than it is to talk for 5 minutes. I mean, I definitely know myself, after over a minute of me speaking, people will switch off. And so to start with, kind of get in there, make your points. And also that means you can keep your videos recorded in a simpler way. So I think at the start, Craig, you were kind of just doing static shot, no editing. I think if you're going to make a kind of 90-second, 3-minute video, because social media has broken all of our brains, you then kind of need to get a bit more movement and get a bit more editing, and that just takes a bit more time. So I'd say start short and punchy, and then as you kind of master, kind of like Craig has done, how to keep people's attention, making it longer can actually mean that you make more nuanced points. And I think a lot of people want to make longer videos so you can actually express a little bit more of what you're saying in a kind of richer way. So, but start simple and then build up, I would say.
I think I've just got one more point on that, Anna, and it's all that 100% true, but a 2-minute waffle video is better than no video at all. So like, don't stress, get it out there. And what's funny is you'll look at it and you'll go, actually, maybe I could have done that better. And then the next one you'll improve, and then the next one you'll improve, and then the next one you'll improve. But the worst video is no video at all, is my advice on that.
I love that attitude. I think that, it's better to do it, isn't it? So we've had a question about making them look natural, and I'm going to add another question onto that related. Do you practice? How often, how many times do you run through it, if you do? No.
I mean, now it's just a case of write the script and shoot it. Like that's really it. So it looks more natural because I feel more comfortable because I've done 100 videos. That's it. Like.
So Richard, in your experience with working with lots of different people across different unions, if someone wanted to practice it, would that be a good thing?
Yeah, totally. And I think one great thing about the WhatsApp group that I've seen like loads of people join already, so that's amazing. But I think there's a few people on here who haven't already. But it can be really scary to film a video thinking, oh my God, this is going to go on TikTok. What are the comments going to be? So actually having something that you can share either with this WhatsApp group, or you can actually email, I think the admins we said, but we will kind of share the contact details so you can get a bit of feedback. And in the first few videos, it's actually much nicer to know, oh, this isn't necessarily going to go out for the world to see. And it might just be someone, a kind of friendly person, will give a bit of feedback and help me improve. And I run a lot of workshops with, we kind of did one with the TUC, and just knowing, hey, this is just going to be for us, no one else needs to see it, is much nicer, particularly with your first video. And the thing you'll find, if you record a video thinking, oh, no one else necessarily needs to see this, I can just relax, you'll probably end up with a better video than if you're thinking, oh, I'm definitely going to upload this to social media. So yeah, I think give yourself a bit of a leeway and just do a few practice runs. No pressure, you don't need to put them up, and you'll be pleasantly surprised. But yeah, I think everyone is also different, Anna. So I don't know about you. Some people are really good, like Craig's really good at writing a script, reading it out, and it sounds natural. Other people, they can just turn the camera on, or just with friends, and they can kind of make their arguments really clearly. So I don't know about you, Anna, like which of those do you think you are? And you'll probably be humble and say neither, but I'm sure you're very good at both of them.
I'm probably somewhere in the middle. I mean, people who are regular viewers of the webinars know that you often see me here. I don't write a script, but I do write myself some bullet point notes so I know this is what I have to cover. And I prefer having that rather than a script that I think is obvious if I'm reading it. That's just my preference. But
yeah, I wonder with you, with this video that you're going to make now, just having a few bullet points, that's how you work. And so everyone else, you can think, maybe try it that way, maybe write a script word for word, try the teleprompter. Or then if there's something that's a bit emotional and it's not so facty, explanatory, just turn your camera on and see what comes out. And I think it's really nice to imagine you're talking to a friend. So it's not this kind of weird camera. Imagine someone specific, I don't know, your brother, a friend at work. What would you say to them if you just kind of let rip and you were totally honest? And I think the audience at home love that because they like being spoken to like they're another person instead of someone being kind of like a politician and being very formal and kind of a bit alien. So yeah, everyone will have a different vibe.
I've never published a video to social media before, but people have asked me before, what is your advice on the webinar hosting or speaking on? And the thing I always say is be yourself. Don't try and be someone you're not. Just be you, and that means that you're just concentrating on what you're saying rather than pretending to be someone else. I think Craig is himself in the video, Shelley certainly is, and that's why it comes across as natural. So that would be my advice, but I'm going to follow that as well in the video that I make. Okay, I think we've got time for maybe 2 more questions. We have had a question about online safety, especially because Craig, you've been making videos that call out the far right, call out maybe some quite dangerous elements. Have you got any advice on that? What we could expect or what we might be doing to protect ourselves?
Yeah, I think like the most important thing is to it's easier said than done, but it's just to not take the comments seriously. You know, you're gonna. I get loads. Harry Potter is a great one. I mean, as someone comments on my video saying Harry Potter now, actually, I'm growing quite fond of it. Actually, it might be Stockholm syndrome. I don't know what, but I find it quite funny. But yeah, I mean, like the comments are there. People, yeah, it is. It's that guy, Craig. Yeah. So I think it's important to try and distance yourself as well from you know, you can quite literally post a video, ignore it. You know, that you have that capability, you know, because you don't have to then go and do anything else with it. But I think just take breaks from it. If you do like checking the comments, I'll reply to the comments and you know, see how my videos are performing and stuff like that. But it's important just to have breaks. I think I'm going through the process myself. I think it's important to remember, like, I'm no TikTok expert. I'm exactly where most of the people who are in the call are right now, but just 6 months in the future. And you sort of learn as you go along. But I'm finding that, you know, you grow thicker skin, and the comments are there. They're always going to be there, but the trolls, in their opinion, let them have it. You know, there's probably some a lot better advice from a professional. I don't know, Richard, if you can come in on it, but yeah, I think you just distance yourself if you need time and have breaks, and don't feel like you always need to be on your phone, because you don't.
Yeah, totally. I'd agree with all that. I guess, I mean, I think Craig would distinguish between someone just kind of putting a mean comment and then hate speech or things. Obviously, there are things that people can say that can be traumatizing and these other things. But I would say that a lot of them, I think, Craig, you kind of see it for what it is. You've wound someone up, they've commented, and the irony is they've boosted your video because they've said, I totally disagree with this guy, and it's pushing it to more people. But I think the difficult thing is facing this stuff on your own and having to feel like I'm putting myself out there. So it's so nice what the TUC is doing. I think we've already got people that are kind of on the course and getting some training and some workshops. And so, yeah, again, the WhatsApp group will be a great first step. But I think we can kind of go away, have a think about some of these questions, come back with some more considered advice, but also maybe tackling this together, thinking, actually, how do we give a bit of feedback and support to each other? Maybe that's something that people want from the TUC. So I think the difficult thing is feeling like you're on your own against this army of kind of people who disagree. And actually, there's kind of more of us that actually agree with what we're saying, just some of them a bit more vocal. So yeah, maybe doing that together is going to be really helpful for lots of people.
Absolutely. And that's one of the reasons we're going to have the WhatsApp group, so that we can be like a supportive community together and offer advice, tips, and that sort of moral support as well. We've nearly time's up. And in a minute, Richard and Craig, I'm going to ask you just to give 2 or 3 top tips or do's and don'ts that we can close the session with. But yeah, just a reminder that we will send you all the links from today in a follow-up email, along with a link to the recording, to Craig's social media account, to the TUC's account, which also features lots of videos that call out reform, that point out Farage's mistakes. We will be running similar webinars to this in the new year, where we'll be sharing more tips and advice on creating these videos. And of course, we'll update you in the WhatsApp group about those too. We've got another, I think, 3 webinars before Christmas on different subjects, so do look out for those. I think the next one is about managing workplace stress. So look out for that, and I'll see you again soon on those. So last couple of top tips or do's and don'ts. Craig, do you want to go first?
Yes. So, I mean, I just started jotting a couple of things down there. So, my first bit of advice is that you need to remember that people want to hear what you have to say. We've got interesting stories in here, right? That's the first bit. Don't wait for other people to do it for you. If you think there's an interest out there and you want to hear people talking about these topics, get on there and do it yourself. And the third one is, and I've said it before, no video is worse than a bad video. So just go for it.
Thanks, Craig. What reminds me there is it's when if someone's reluctant to go for a jog, they often say, you know, a 5-minute jog is worse than no jog at all. So it's the same thing. That first step out the door is the hardest. The first video is the hardest. Richard, some final top tips?
Right. Well, we're short on time, so I won't give you 3 tips. 3 words, just do it. Like Craig says, commit to kind of going away, making a video, sending it to us. Whatever you do the first time, it doesn't matter. You will have got your voice out there, which is massive. So yeah, really excited to see loads of your videos.
What a great note to finish on. Just do it. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Craig. And we'll see you again soon for more. Bye-bye for now.